Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm doing something a little bit different today. I haven't done one of these yet, but I feel like it's something that people are interested in. And I know I like watching videos like this, so I figured I would try it out, see how it works out, and see if you guys like it. I'm just kind of doing a basic sketch video to show you all what my process typically looks like when I just sit down to do random sketching in my sketchbook. Um, Obviously, I like drawing portraits a lot or faces, not even necessarily portraits. I'm not always looking for a specific likeness when I'm drawing just for fun. I just like to draw faces, practice my proportions, my lines, my shading, things like that. And it's just something I like to do. It's like a fun thing for me. I've always liked drawing faces. So today I just kind of sat down with a pencil, very basic tools. Pretty much everybody has pencils and paper, just a regular spiral sketchbook. The sketchbook I'm working on is a mixed media sketchbook paper. It's 9 by 12 inches. So just to give you an idea of the size of my sketchbook paper, nothing super fancy, and just a plain old Ticonderoga number 2 pencil I had from Story's school supply box. Again, nothing fancy, no specific like real art supplies or anything. Anybody can use these kind of tools to get started if you feel like sketching or drawing or whatever. Although I have a bajillion actual artist pencils and art supplies I could use, I sometimes just reach for the simplest stuff when I'm just sketching. So basically, I just look through Pinterest sometimes to find photos. This picture I found, I'll insert a picture of it here so you guys can see my reference photo. But the picture that I found is just like a random photo that I found off of Pinterest. And just thought it was a nice facial reference, and I like the angle of it and everything, so that's what I decided to use for my reference for this. And so I a lot of times will just start off with the outlines and then kind of start filling it in as I go. I don't have any specific rules for when I sketch. I don't always make myself, sketch out the entire head or sketch out the entire face first or whatever. I just kind of start looking at the angles and the lines, and then I'll just start sketching. Um, I did want to kind of talk a little bit about some stuff lately that that I've been thinking about. It's funny, like doing this for a year now, full-time art. It's been amazing. Like I love being able to sit down and make art all day long, every day, whenever I have time. It's amazing. But I struggle a little bit because I'm still not 100% certain, where my next paycheck's going to come from. I don't have like a steady income stream. I still have a little bit of anxiety about that. And also, like marketing myself is hard. Like I don't always feel super confident in my skills. I don't have a lot of followers on social media. It's hard growing my social media. I'm not exactly sure where to start. And like working on it is fine. It's slowly becoming bigger and getting more and more attention and stuff. So that's nice. But I do have a lot of like self-doubt sometimes, feeling like I'm not good enough, or continuously comparing myself to other artists, because that's what I see. I mean, I choose to follow other artists on social media. I watch lots of YouTube videos from other artists. I watch a lot of like reels and see a lot of images on Instagram and Facebook, and like it's tough because that's what I see all the time. And although it's amazing for inspiration, like I love watching them because it's so inspiring and it gives me a lot of creative ideas and stuff. But on the other hand, it's also like it's also a little bit crippling to my self-esteem when I see these incredible artists making these beautiful images, and then me trying to, imitate their style, or, try something that they're doing that I've never tried before, and obviously not being as good at it because it's not something I do. But me being the perfectionist that I am, I always want to be the best, that's just my personality. So it gets a little bit intimidating, and I get a little bit, like I lose a little bit of confidence sometimes because I feel like I should be better, and that's just me being hard on myself. But I have to continuously remind myself that not everybody can do this. Not everybody is an artist. This isn't something that's easy for all people. And just because I've been doing this for, like the majority of my life, it feels like something that everybody probably can do, or anybody could do this, and I know in my mind that not everybody can, but, subconsciously, that's just because I've been around it for so long and been doing it for so long and see it all the time. And that's, what I see all the time in my mind. It plays tricks on me. It tells me, like, oh, you're not as good as so-and-so, or people are going to see somebody else's work and think, oh, what the heck is she? Who the heck does she think she is? Anybody could do that, or so-and-so is doing this better. So why would I buy this from her? Or why would I hire her to do this project when somebody else is, doing it just as well? And, they may be easier to access or whatever. I mean, there's just so many things that come up in my brain that make me feel less adequate, which I have to continuously talk myself out of. So, I thought sitting down and doing an actual like sketch from start to finish in my sketchbook would be a good way, and recording it would be a good way to show everybody like how my process begins. And then also for me to watch it back to see, like, okay, this is something that I watch on social media and I get impressed by other people, and maybe I will impress myself looking at it from an outsider's perspective, which it's kind of cool watching my sketch come to life. Obviously this isn't my best sketch ever. It's not something that I would be like, oh, everybody look how great my drawing is. It's just a sketchbook sketch. It's just a practice. It's just something that I do to keep my skills honed, to, make sure that I'm not losing my touch. Sometimes when I do commissioned portraiture, I end up doing a lot of like tracing, or I will, if it's like a large scale, I'll use a projector and trace that kind of image or whatever. Because I want it to be perfect and I want it to be exact. And so I'll trace my outlines to make sure that my proportions are correct. But I still like to practice just drawing for myself. And sometimes I want to be able to just create something from my mind. And a lot of times creating from my mind comes from references that I have drawn from photographs before, because I am such a visual person. I sometimes need that, and I need to have that in my memory bank so that I can recall how those images come together and how I created those proportions in the past, or what angles I used, etc. So, like I know that tracing is not cheating. Like if you want to trace something, to draw it, to shade it, to color it, to paint it, sometimes drawing is not everybody's strong suit. Sometimes it's the shading, sometimes it's the actual color usage, sometimes it's it's other things, or sometimes it's just something you just want to color in and you just want to trace the image, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I also feel, for me, like I want to just be able to draw from my mind, and in order to do that I need to practice by drawing things that I see. So that's what I'm doing here. And when I sketch in my sketchbook, the majority of the time, this is the kind of things that I do. I will find reference images, whether it's just one picture, whether it's several that I kind of like piece together, and then I'll just draw, whatever I see from that, and sort of create my own composition. But for this one, it's just one picture. It's just one, sketch drawing. I don't think I've even filled up this whole page. I just sort of sketched it in the middle, so it's not even the greatest composition. But it was fun. It was like an exercise that I enjoyed doing, and I thought you guys might enjoy watching it as well. So here it is, and I hope you guys like seeing my process. I do sometimes like to watch videos like this of other artists, where I'll watch something that they posted years prior, where they have like old sketch videos, and then watch newer ones so that I can compare to see how their styles have evolved or changed or improved. Because sometimes I'll look back at my own artwork from the past. I'll look back at my drawings that I've done back in college, or, even just a couple years ago in my old sketchbooks, and think, oh, I could do that better now. But when I go back and redo it, I don't always like it better. Or I think, I'll look back at some of my old stuff and think, oh my gosh, I used to be so good. Like, what happened to me? And I'll draw something similar again, and it just doesn't turn out the same. But that's because my style has changed. It's evolved. It's not necessarily always going to be better. I feel like it should be, and so I'm, harder on myself than I need to be, but sometimes it's just about change. And because the fact that I have a hard time sticking to one style or one particular art medium, like I don't just draw with pencils, I don't just draw with charcoals, I don't just watercolor paint, I don't just acrylic paint, I don't just pastel paint, I don't, I use all of these different tools, and I get bored with using the same ones over and over again, and so I switch back and forth. And I feel like I've never been officially diagnosed, but I think that I probably have some sort of ADD or ADHD, and that's why I can't stick to one thing. I'm not exactly sure, but I've always had this kind of like jumping around to things sort of approach to art, and I just can't stick to one thing. There's too many art supplies out there for me to just choose one and not want to explore others. And also there's so many different kinds of imagery that are much more better translated with different types of media. Some things are going to be more apt to look a specific way if you paint them with watercolor paint, or if you want like a looser type of image. Or some things will be much better. For instance, if I want to draw or paint photorealistically, my best medium is always going to be chalk pastel. Soft pastel for me turns things into like easy to blend, easy to layer. I can get all the bright tones underneath. I can blend the different types of colors without them getting muddy. And then the details I can get with a sharp point with pencils on top of it. So sometimes mixed media is what works the best. And so it's just finding the right type of combination for you, or the right type of medium. And without exploring and without experimenting, it's never going to happen. And so here I am with an entire art store in my closet. I pretty much have every kind of art medium you could think of. And those that I don't have, obviously I'm coveting. So, it's tough for me to pinpoint my art style, because I have so much desire to create with so many different materials. And so the materials that I'm choosing are obviously going to impact the style of art that I'm creating. Or even sticking to one art genre. Typically, I do like portraiture, and I'm drawn to faces, and I'm drawn to painting and drawing people, but that's not all I like. I also really love drawing animals. I love insects. I love botanical art. I love painting things like that, drawing things like that. I'm also very drawn to surrealism and fantasy art, which is a lot of times based on reality in a way. I'm not necessarily too much of an abstract artist, honestly. Like, I don't really draw or paint abstractly, but I think what I'm drawn to is more, based on reality or based on imagery that I'm familiar with, and so that's what I tend to draw or paint. So that's what this is, so that's what my art style is. And having to use the tools that I have, having to use the tools that I have, and then having to decide which tools are going to be the most appropriate for the type of art that I want to create. That's also a struggle sometimes. Sometimes I'll sit there for 3 or 4 hours just scrolling through the internet trying to find an image that inspires me, and then I find something and I'll draw it, and then I'll decide that I wished that I had made it a painting, or I'll change my mind in the middle and then I'll start over drawing it with a different material, or I'll take the sketch that I drew and I'll turn it into another type of art. I'll enlarge it, or I'll make it smaller, or I will digitize it sometimes. Like if I scan it into my iPad, I can digitize the image, and then I can kind of play around with it digitally, add things, change things, change the shapes, change the tones, etc. And I really like doing that, actually. That's one of the things that I discovered kind of this year, was digitizing things and sort of making collages out of images, and being able to change and shift the pictures the way that I want them to be, and then sort of sketching them from that reference, it seems like a lot of work, but to be honest with you, I have the time to do it now, which is basically my dream come true. Having all the time in the world that I need to create the art that I really want to create is literally my dream come true. So, I literally am living the life of my dreams right now. If I could only figure out a way to make my income a little bit more steady, it would be the absolute best thing in the whole world. So, but yeah, so this sketch was something that I chose just based on this image. I liked her face. I thought she was really pretty, and I liked the angle of her face. As I sketched it out, I started adding a little bit of shadows and stuff. I originally just was going to do a line drawing, but I kind of I can't avoid doing shading when I'm using pencils. It's just one of those things that I have to do. And so when if I don't want to use a lot of shading, I'll sometimes just start with a fine liner, which is also tough for me because I can't erase anything. But as you see, like with my pencil, I didn't erase very much. The only times I really erase is if I drew too dark in one spot and I wanted it to be a little bit lighter, and I think I only used my eraser like 2 times or something for this entire sketch, which is fine, which is good. I mean, that's basically the idea of sketching, is just like teaching yourself to put down the lines that you mean to put down, not backtracking on yourself, trusting your art, trusting your lines, trusting your hands. And that's what I'm doing. So that's also why I like drawing and sketching with a ballpoint pen sometimes. Ballpoint pen can be really nice because although it is a pen and it's permanent, you can still get variation in your lines, the darkness and the lightness. You can still shade a little bit. You can use, cross hatching techniques and stuff, which isn't my strong suit either, but I like to practice with it. It's really nice. And then, I'll see if I can make some more videos like this. Actually, I kind of like this whole idea, start to finish process of a sketch turned into maybe a finished art piece. I do have quite a few sketches in my sketchbooks that I started off with and based them, they became something bigger or something better. And so I like the idea of showing my entire process from start to finish, from concept to sketch, to translating it to larger scale or a different type of medium, and then sort of just completing it in that medium. I kind of also like the idea of doing one image in multiple mediums. I haven't done a whole lot of that. I think I've maybe done it once or twice, and I can't even think of any examples that I've had that I've done that with. But I'm pretty sure I've done it once or twice, where I would take one image and draw it with pencil, and then I would draw it with colored pencil, or with watercolor, or with oil paint even. And sometimes it's just because I will draw it first and I'll be like, no, this will look better with paint. But I kind of like that idea. If you guys are interested in seeing something like that, let me know for sure, because I'm kind of excited now that I thought of that idea. So let me know what you guys want to see, and I would be happy to do all kinds of different kinds of videos for you all. I am working on trying to make my videos a little bit better. I don't have the greatest camera. I'm basically just using my phone right now, which is also kind of an older phone. It's just a Galaxy S9, and I do need a new phone. So once I get a new phone and I get a better camera, my video quality might be a little bit better too. But, for things like this, just, let me know what you guys think. Here's the way it looks when it's finished. This was just, not super finished, but here's my sketch. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you do, give it a thumbs up. Hope you subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye.